Okay. I want to welcome everybody who may be showing up to the stream uh, and to those checking us out on YouTube. Again, this is Mike with the Magic Forge. Welcome to episode 2 of our From Breadboard to Market series, where we will explore uh, basically taking an electronics concept from the breadboard, from the prototype, stage up to creating something that you could actually throw in the market through a shopping platform, something like Shopify, Amazon, eBay, Etsy, whatever. And we will also be hooking into ISO practices as well, because if the primary goal is to design a business to go further than just a hobby, to take this to the next level, you'll definitely want to build yourself up on industry standards, uh, a good quality management system, as well as just good practices to stay in overall. So last time we left off with the operational block diagram that we started developing. So at the core of our project is an ESP32, and it's going to control a stepper motor, mainly for experimentation and testing of various automation systems that I like to develop. I'm just so tired of breadboarding this every time, and it's just a disaster to work with. And I want something with more flexibility, something I can throw inputs in and go, and not have to worry about it. Just update the firmware, do custom coding if necessary, depending on what I'm doing. That way, everything's ready to rock and roll. So we pretty much have most of the block diagram laid out. The core functional parts that we believe we will need. Obviously, the ESP32, the power supplies, a fan for helping to keep the stepper driver cool, limit switches or other input devices to detect if something's happened. We may not have to watch them. RS232, RS485 communication. My bad. I like RS45 because it's what's called multi-drop. You can have multiple RS45 devices in your network and communicate with them, and each one has their own address, and we will control that internally via firmware for now. And then we'll have control inputs like either buttons or switches, like an enable, direction, other things. We will have to test out. Maybe add as many as we can. And then the stepper driver, you basically have many control inputs. You can enable it. You can put it in reset. You can there's a general fault output that you can monitor. So if any internal fault like overheating or overcurrent gets detected, it'll throw up a fault. You can detect that, monitor that with the ESP. We might even control the microstepping selector switches via firmware to make our lives a little bit easier. We will have to see when we get to the point of firmware control. Maybe we'll make it either or. Add the ability to control via firmware or jumper controls or jumpers. That is going to be an interesting thing to try. We will see. But I think adding control via controller or external jumper switches would be relatively easy, and we can lay all that out. So this looks good. One of the documentation steps we want to move forward with, which would maintain ISO compliance as well as project management for a project, is a product requirements document. This will help outline what we're doing, why we're doing it, and help prevent what's called scope creep, the addition of unnecessary features just because you feel like you can, just because you feel like you want to. Now, as far as the ESP32, I will draw on another square and do this here. Now we're going to BLE Wi-Fi. We may throw in BLE and Wi-Fi. It's an unknown at this point. Again, I'm not a coder. I have very little to no familiarity with coding this kind of stuff, but I want to learn more. That should be bidirectional, but I think I can change that. Let's see if we can change that here. I thought you could. Oh. Yeah, so you can just add the other arrow to it. Okay. Because BLE and Wi-Fi are bidirectional communication protocols. So we'll just throw that in there. It may happen, it may not. You never know. Depends what we want to use this for. Again, it's a development platform, but maybe that's why we want BLE and Wi-Fi so we can control it to ultimately help develop something more solid if we want to drop something like these principles into an actual device, such as a conveyor or some other control unit. Who knows? So this looks about right. Got our block diagram. So we'll go to our folder. And for editing and creating these documents, we use VS Code. In the last video, we started setting up the structure, the folder structure. So I've got stuff set up in public files. This is what I'm hoping to be able to share via GitHub once I get further along, get enough to actually share. So it's going to have everything in it. But like I said, we are going to be using VS Code. Now I think we just go in here, open, right click, open with code, and that should open up. Yes. All right. Get rid of that. All right. So we've been using VS Code for everything. So we have all this stuff here set up, ready to rock and roll. All right. So we also created our project organization standard operating procedure. Have our master document list. Now, okay, SOPs. We have our project organization and management. All right. So one of the things we will want to do is our work instruction. So again, I will be using Copilot to help write these. It's just way too much to remember and formatting and stay consistent. ISO is a big animal. It usually takes a team of a quality manager and a couple of other technicians working under them to help maintain. And the larger the organization becomes, the more processes they have, the more of an animal this grows into. So I'm not an expert. I have a lot of experience, and it's a system that I really like using because it just spells everything out, and it helps maintain consistency and help maintain quality. And if you have anybody has questions about how you run your operations, you have all your answers in front of you. So we will be using Copilot, and I've already started drafting up a product requirements document. Again, we'll go through and we'll fix this, change this, modify this as we need to. So in the projects folder, project documents, that's our flow chart and draw.io. Can't really open that in code, but what we can do is new file. So it's going to be, we're going to name it the same naming convention. Yeah, if I can really name. 10, 22, or no, 10, 12, 2025, 01. Dash PRD And then we're going to actually just the underscores and stuff, from what I understand, just make it easier and less likely to have a problem when you're using Git or other services. I've heard that before, to use underscores and stuff instead of spaces, just to help with naming conventions. That's why I do it. I don't know if it will cause problems, if spaces cause problems or not. I'm not going to take the chance, so we'll see. So we're going to, that's our PRD, SP32. Stepper. Stepper Development Kit is what we're going to call it. MD for Markdown language. So we're going to go over here, grab it from here, paste in here. Now, okay, some things I'm okay with leaving for now. Maybe we'll change it. Document ID. I don't know. That would typically be, there we go. Put the name of the file, owner, design lead, which should be whoever you designate. You can put your name in there. Typically, you would want it to be the job position or job title rather than a name. That way, it doesn't get tied down to a specific name. So we'll just we're actually going to call it project design lead. That'll be like a designation for whoever worked on this project. There will be other documentation, maybe something like a matrix or a RACI, like a responsibilities matrix, things like that, which will lay all this out, all these different titles, and who is. So the version, the date, 15, and this will reference these ISO clauses in the long run. Okay. Okay, so we have the purpose, which looks okay. Scope looks okay. Now, stakeholders. Stakeholders are basically anybody inside or outside the company that has any input or would be considered like an output of this project. So somebody who's like a vested interest. Sometimes it could be like a CEO, it could be quality, it could be everybody who has anything important to add, contribute to this project. If you were doing this project for an outside company, one or more of their designated officers would be considered stakeholders. So that's just something to keep in mind. More project management stuff will come down from this because there's other documentation you're going to want to maintain with project management, and we'll get to there as we go. So right now we'll leave this alone. Nothing. Okay, we'll call it project zine, project. Helps if I spell right. QA lead. Typically, you have like one or two. You'd have one or two main QA people, quality assurance people within a company. Maybe a few more, depending on how many technicians and how large of company. So that would be not designated just for this project because you oversee everything. Same with manufacturing; they're not just for this project. They deal with everything for your company. So just don't even worry about that. But all right. All right, product objectives. Okay. All right. Okay. Says that's an unknown word. Huh. I'm just gonna leave it as is and maybe look it up. Product objectives. So this is what we are trying to get. At the end of the day, target low material cost and manufacturing goals. Yes, for small batch runs. Line. Yes, yes. So what other? So we're also going to add. Yeah, it helps if I spell. You'll see that a lot. Mechanical. So we want to make sure it's drop-in capability. At the end of the day, something like this might be usable as a drop-in module. It'll serve as a dev kit and possibly a drop-in module. That's kind of the goal. Now, I know larger systems would have multiple stepper motors, but if you have just one system where you only need one stepper motor to perform one function, this might be a perfect solution for it. That's kind of the goal. All right. All right, here we go. Now, this is where we're going to clean up functional requirements. Relay support. Okay. Yes. Yes. Interface motor control standard. Right here. We're going to go 12, 24 volt input. On board 3.3 volt. And volt regulation. Maybe we'll have outputs, breakout headers for UART. We'll RS45. So we're not going to be using breakout headers. We're going to be use pluggable, which I'll get into later when we actually get into some of the nitty-gritty design. But I like pluggables. Typical that you'll see are like Phoenix Contact, the green, where you can literally remove the connector with the cables attached to it. I really like working with pluggables. They make life a little bit easier. So we're going to use pluggable headers for the RS45. Maybe for the RS45. I've also seen cool systems that use RJ11 or even RJ45 jacks for RS45 connections. But I'm more partial to pluggable headers. The stepper signals will definitely be pluggable. GPIO is general, but it will apply to things like limit switches and control input. So we'll just kind of keep that alone. BLE provisioning and OTA firmware update. That is a plan. That is a goal. I would like to do OTA. I played around with it on another project, and we might be able to incorporate it in here. We're not going to use USB or UART programming interface. We're just going to use USB via a bridge chip, just to make life a little bit easier. KiCad project design. Yes, we'll put test points in there. This is visual indicator, so I like putting LEDs on things, especially as debugging and validation tools. Test points are great, but having a quick visual reference to something like a UART TX RX line really comes in handy. Performance requirements. All right, BLE provisioning time. I'm not used to BLE stuff, so we'll figure it out. Okay, we'll figure all this out. Firmware, accessory, voltage regulation, ripple. You can definitely check that with the scope. Let's see here. Yeah, safety. Reverse polarity protection on input. We can accomplish that with a Schottky diode, which we will. In other words, well, there's actually two ways we can accomplish this. One, we can throw a bridge rectifier in, so no matter what direction you put your power leads on, it will work. Or just a Schottky diode and maybe an LED pulled off of that to say, hey, look, backwards wiring. Maybe we can use a red green LED to indicate proper and backwards power wiring. That would be freaking cool. We will look into it, but yes, reverse polarity, thermal protection. The stepper driver does have thermal protection. It will shut itself down, but we will have pretty beefy board, probably looking at 2-ounce copper, multi-layer, as well as a heat sink and a fan for the DRV8825. Now, through some of the testing I've done, these will put up with a lot with just the heat sink. But you give a good thermal heat sink into the board via a ground plane and stuff, and this little guy will churn along pretty good. Isolation between motor power and logic. Yeah, we can throw some isolating ICs in there. The good thing is not PWM. They're singular directions, so we could use FETs or look for some isolation, signal isolation ICs, which would be no problem at all. Or even opto isolators. Again, we'll see. You never know. This last one I'm not sure about, but we can test. We can test. Okay. Now, some of these directories that they're showing here, we'll have to fix as we go. Okay, actually, we might well fix some of them now. So, let's see here. Let's make sure there's no directory up here that you need to fix. Not that I saw right there, but right down here. So, okay. Test logs, test plan. We'll have to definitely create a test plan for this guy. FAI, first article inspection. This is stuff we will, again, we'll allow this to be a living document as we do this. It's been a long time since I've had to do this deep of a work. Okay. And then each requirement must map to blah, 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 blah. So basically, we'll have a CSV file, which we'll use the LibreOffice Calc for to map everything here to what on the board or final product or whatever covers these requirements. Okay, let's see here. Again, we'll go through, we'll clean all this up. Hardware, let's see, projects, project documents. We're gonna just do this. Project documents. Since these are only documents that are associated with this project itself, we'll be fine. We'll work on creating a traceability matrix down the road. But what we're going to do is we're going to You know what? I've never actually tried a CSV in VS Code, so let's try it. So I don't. I'll probably fix that. Oh, oh, okay. Install. Apparently, there's a CSV file that we can put in. Let's go ahead and see if that does for us. Oh boy, maybe this will work. Okay, maybe not, but we'll figure it out. So, close this for now. Close that for now. That's in the way. You know what we're going to do? I want to see what it looks like in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the folder. Right, right, right. Project documents. Let's open with LibreOffice. Pow. Let's see what it wants to look like. Character set automatic. Blah 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 blah. There's no separator options. Okay. No, let's not open that. It's been a while since I had to work with a CSV file. Oh, it's been so long since I've worked with a CSV file. Okay, so we're gonna do. We're just gonna do. Okay. Yeah, I like having Copilot intermingle with VS Code because I am not an expert. What it's not doing. Okay, we'll finish this up later. I want to see what it actually looks like in LibreOffice. So detected, comma. Okay. Get out of my way. All right. Oh, design ID, mutation ID. All right. See how that maps. Yeah, fair guy. Yeah, it's not mapping to this exactly, and that's what I was afraid of. So, let's close this. It's not mapping. Copilot gets weird sometimes. It doesn't map everything exactly. Requirement ID, it should be mapping to these requirements right here. FR001 Okay. You stop doing that. Cell control. Yeah, it's not matching any of these. Oh, we're going to have to go through and clean all that up. FR001. So, and it's cool. Yeah, we'll have to go through and clean all this up. I'll do that on my own time. I don't want to take up the stream. So basically, we'll match everything over here, these guys, these functional requirements. Um, we'll work on cleaning all that because I'm not 100% happy with how it built it. But again, so we have a requirement ID, the requirement. Test ID, design ID. Yeah, we'll go through and clean all this up. I'll try to clean all this up, and let's at least get one of them. No, we're not going to support multiple. Yeah, it's really. So module ability support. Design ID. All right. Design description, implementation ID. Test ID, unit test. Okay. Those make more sense. I don't like how it didn't match the project, the requirement IDs versus what it is. Number 2. We're not doing multiple step promoters. Not yet. Not yet. That might be a later project. Who knows? Okay. What's number 3? So these are all functional requirements. Yeah, see. Test 3 functional tests for there we go. All right. So that kind of oh, I hate that. Let's go through and do that. All right. We'll figure out how to map, but I'll try to get all this stuff off screen for the next video. I don't want to stay here for hours trying to wrap all this into here and make it all make sense. No, it's not worth it. it'll take way too much time, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. This will give you an idea what we're going for. Basically, to map all this to this. Uh, yes, it's a lot of paperwork, but what happens is you're creating all these documents, a paper trail that you can go back to and say, hey, look, this is what I did. It works. The product worked. These are the tests I've done. Here's the matrix. You can look here, and then you could find all the tests that map to the requirements built off of the PRD. So this looks okay for now. Let's kind of close that. That's okay. Risk and crane or thermal ground bound string motor transients. We can take care of that. So those are risks. Those are critical risks. So those are critical risks that could be basically a go no go for the project. So they could be critical enough that you would either not release the project or go through a major overhaul or revision to deal with them. So you want to try to deal with them now. That's where you get these risk assessments now. So we have thermal runway, ground bounds, unreliable OTA. We're also going to also again, you will see my spelling is ferocious. It is horrible. I apologize for that, but that's just me. That is a risk, unreliable RS-45 communication. But good thing about RS-485 is a differential signal, and I've seen this stuff work through horrible environments, but this is still a risk. I mean, the biggest risk is if the cable gets cut, but that's down the road. So acceptance for release, basically. So we look at the critical risks, and what is okay to release the product is we've got evidence to show we've found a way to mitigate, or we've already shown through testing that these are not actual issues. This is the point in time where you want to kind of brainstorm and think about issues that would be a showstopper for a project. That's why you do these PRDs. Is it sets you up for better success. Yes, it's paperwork. It takes time, but it sets you up for success because you've covered a lot of your bases from the get-go before you even spend money on parts. You're better off spending a couple hours on documentation, getting it written down, put all your thoughts on paper or in a markdown file for the specific project you want to work on, because this is cheap. This is the cheapest part of any project. You haven't bought any boards, you haven't bought any materials, you haven't assembled boards and materials together and made a product that may not actually work. So this is just some consideration. And then this will also help you say, hey, maybe I can find a dev kit. And yes, the stepper motor driver, the DRV8825, does have a development kit. You can buy it off of Amazon. I bought several, and that's right. The breadboard part came in. Never be afraid to test things out on breadboards. It is the cheapest part of any project. And if you're working for a customer on a limited budget, that's another thing. We'll evaluate all that because budget management is going to be an important part of project management. Okay, document control, change request. This is just okay. Oops. So there's going to be a change log. So since there's going to be a change log, actually, you need to want to get that because I want to match this. So again, there we go. So we're going to change log. So we're going to create a new document, new file. Boom. Change log. Now, this is just going to be a placeholder for now. It's a file. We're not going to have anything in there yet. We probably will throw something in there for the initial development, the initial release. Okay. Quarterly upon major storage, controlled PDFs, and releases. All right. So let's go here to / / where is the actually let's fix that because this is for this project specifically. Let's just go ahead. Get here. Probably a lot easier. We're gonna grab this. Control C. Bop. Bop. There we go. Because this is a PRD specific to this project. And that is what we're going to call it. So we're going to do here. We're going to go ahead and capitalize that R. Let's just go ahead and do it. New folder. Bam. All right. The file name. Yeah, we might have to revise that, but that's fine. Vision history. All right, I copy and pasted that, but let's get rid of that. All right. Oh, it's nice. Preview. Boop. Looks all nice and good. All right. So that is the PRD. That is awesome. Now, you will probably want to establish a budget for ourselves. So, under projects, wait a minute, did that go in the wrong spot? Yes, it did. You little bastard. We're going to go over here. We're going to put that there. There! Oh, I hate it when VS Code does that. So under project documents, now they're very big on all right. So we're gonna go over office. Okay. We're gonna save as. Huh. XLSX. Okay, we'll save it as an XLSX. We're going to save it here. Budget. P10 12 20 25 01 dash. Yeah, I don't like the way that looked. Budget. Bam. Yeah, I know it wants to use ODF, but we'll use the Office 365 format. Now, eventually down the road, we'll create maybe a template for this. But this is where we get to play around with it. I won't go in too far. But some general things you're going to want to have, is there a header and footer? Again, I'm not used to LibreOffice headers and footers. So, footer. Have a revision there. Bam. Okay. So, generally, it's going to be important to maintain this as closely as possible and set yourself a goal or a target that you don't want to go over. Because again, if you are going to follow along with this project and do this, you just have to be careful. And any project in the future, you don't have an infinite supply of money. You want to make sure that you're careful with it. So we're going to set ourselves a target. Being your first project, it's going to be harder to determine that. And then with all the tariffs, it's even harder to determine that. So overall, now this is the overall from start to finish, what you expect to spend on this project, or you're willing to allocate to spend on it. If it takes 1 week to accomplish, if it takes 2 years to accomplish, you still want to set a maximum amount that you're willing to drop on a project like this. And it's not going to be all at once. It's going to nickel and dime you from buying boards, buying components. If you do 3D printing, buying materials for your 3D printer, all of it adds up. So it's just things to keep in mind. So we'll just kind of start out with up here what we're willing to allocate for ourselves. Total. Again, we're going to format all this. We'll create probably a template. Okay, we're going to format it. Number, currency. Okay. Sweet. Sexy. Okay. All right, so. Oh, okay. Oh, all right. That's interesting. All right. Merge and center ourselves. All right, there we go. Do that. All right. Now we're going to pop that over there. Leave that there. Pop that over there. And remaining. All right, pop that over there. We're going to go format themselves. Currency. Okay, bam. All right. So that's what we're going to do there. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to have project phases. So let's go and drop this down. Basically, a header for a project. Project phase. I don't know how I want to organize this because I want to, yeah. So what I'm going to do is project phase. And we're going to project phase. The first phase. So we're gonna format. We're gonna unmerge cells. Just kind of come all the way over there. Format, merge and center. We're gonna come here. Again, like you said, we'll try to clean something up. Format, merge and center, and we're gonna call this project phase. Phase. Build. Initial. We're gonna call this project. So now the reason I'm doing this, so project investigation. So let's say you have the idea, but you haven't gotten on the breadboard yet. This is where you would track everything you've been spending um, uh, for breadboard development for this project. And well, it's a phase. You might have to come back to it and add more. Like say down the road, you hit a point, and you're like, oh, I need to test some other things. Who knows? But right now, this will be project investigation. So, like if you buy breakout kits or breadboards or the ESP32 dev kits, you attract them here. So, in this, we're going to have an item description. Just a short, brief description. Actually, no, we have a quantity, cost, extended, and then description. Format, merge cells. We're going to smack that to the side. It's not going to be, you don't need a huge description. So it's like ESP32 dev kit. That's what we'll call it. That's how it'll be. Item would be like part number. All right, so let's drag this down, give ourselves a few. And then I like to fill in my borders. All right. I find it nice. What's this? Oh, right click. Borders. Ah, okay. Okay. Boom. All right. Oops. All right. So we do merge cells. Let's center that. Do that. Format. Border. Bam. Okay. I just went wrong. Format cells. Again, I'm not used to using LibreOffice. All right. Oh, I'm used to using Excel. There we go. Boom. Save that. All right. Now, before we get too far, let's see if I can copy that. Yeah. And we'll add this to this as we go, but right now we're going to have just investigation. So we're going to format that. Should have done that before I copy and paste. Numbers, currency. Okay. Oh, you know what? That's going to be currency too. Okay. So we're going to have, let's see here, equals times. All right. All right. Equals that times that. All right. All right. So we're going to do something crazy here. Spent to date is we're going to equals sum E10 to E. Okay. And that is going to be that minus that. So, perfect. Again, I'll make this a template and we'll have it in there. It'll be downloadable as part as the part of the package. Um, that will come to maybe later. Once I get it created, I'll show it to you and we'll throw it in there. I just don't want to eat up too much time on the video stream or the video. But this, you get my drift. So like ESP32. So we're gonna say we bought one. It was $15. Boom. So right there. Boom, 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 boom. So, and then brief description. Now, if you had an extended team, you can throw a note in here, like who spent it. If you have multiple people working on the same project, multiple hardware engineers, that's pretty much up to you. If you want to, it's going to be an accounting thing. But if it's just you right now, this would be a basic template to go by. So here, what we're going to do is I think we can do some conditional formatting. Let's see if there's conditional. Let's see here. Cancel. It's kind of fun to do. conditional formatting. Conditional. All right. So for the greater than, uh, greater than 0, 0. Accent 1. All right. Let's see what accent. Oh, okay, right there. It's showing me derp. Let's see here. Good. There we go. Good. Now we're going to. Nope, again. Format. We're going to do another conditional. Less than 0.00. So we'll go here, manage conditional formatting. Less than, edit. Bad. There we go. So now if we go here, zero is good, but yeah, zero is okay. If you have $0 left at the end of the day, you're fine. You just don't want to go below $0. Okay. It's just a quick visual. Just a quick visual. I like working with this kind of stuff to make life a little easier for myself. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do how I do it. It's perfectly acceptable. So we'll stick this like this for now. This is what we're allocating. I'm jumping in this project. I've already gone through the investigation phase. That's why I decided to do this video series. So I'll be in the prototype. Now, I can throw in estimated expenses. You can get really fancy with these, but you really just at the end of the day want to track everything. You want to stay on the positive on this for the whole project. Because remember, if you're throwing your own money into this, you don't want to try to spend it. You can't spend infinite money on a project, especially if you're doing it for a customer. At some point in time, you have to be willing to say, you know what, it's not working. I'm not going to get anywhere with it, and I have to cut my losses. Don't try to push yourself further along and waste money or spend money on a project that you're already in the hole on. It just hurts you in the long run. And if you're doing it for a customer, that's not a good idea. Don't do it. Borders. Bam. All right, so we'll leave this alone. We have our project budget. Nothing's been spent. I haven't allocated anything yet. We'll figure all that out in the long run. We can estimate based off of bill of materials down the road for like the prototype, but for now, we can throw more project phases in later, maybe as we develop other phases to do stage gating. We will see. So there's that. So we have this guy. Okay. So, like I said, I'll try to take care of all the mapping in this off camera and show you the final project, the final product for the next stream, the next video. I'm going to end it here. I don't want to drag these videos on too long. So thank you for tuning in or watching the video. We will pick up where we left off in the next one. Thank you very much. Have a great day.